Fantastic beasts, the secrets of Dumbledore. The misty hills of Buton loomed in the distance, as Newt Scamander carefully made his way along a narrow mountain path. His trusty suitcase, battered but resilient, hung from one hand, while the other gripped his wand tightly. The chill mountain air nipped at his cheeks, a stark contrast to the warmth of the magical creature nestled inside his coat, a baby Quillen, one of the rarest and most revered beasts in the wizarding world. Newt's breath caught as he heard the distant sound of pursuit. Gellert Grindelwald's followers were closing in, desperate to capture the Quillen for their master's nefarious purposes. The Magizoologist knew all too well the dangers that awaited if the pure-hearted creature fell into the wrong hands. Just as the path ahead seemed to disappear into a sheer cliff face, a shimmering portal materialized. Albus Dumbledore stepped through, his auburn hair and beard ruffling in the mountain breeze. "Quickly, Newt," Dumbledore urged, extending a hand. "We haven't much time." With a last glance over his shoulder, Newt grasped Dumbledore's hand and stepped through the portal. In an instant, the mountainous terrain of Buton gave way to the familiar cobblestone streets of Hogsmeade Village. "Did we lose them?" Newt asked, catching his breath as he gently patted the hidden Quillen. Dumbledore's blue eyes twinkled, though a hint of worry creased his brow. "For now, my friend. But Grindelwald's reach grows longer by the day. We must act swiftly if we're to thwart his plans." As they made their way towards the Three Broomsticks, Newt couldn't help but marvel at how much had changed since their last encounter. The wizarding world teetered on the brink of war, divided by Grindelwald's seductive promises of freedom and magical supremacy. Inside the cozy pub, they found a gathering of familiar faces. Theseus Scamander, Newt's brother, sat beside the American Tina Goldstein. Nearby, Jacob Kowalski, the Nomad baker, who had become an unlikely but invaluable ally, nursed a butterbeer, his usually cheerful face etched with worry. "Newt!" Tina exclaimed, rising to greet him. Her dark eyes softened as they met his, a silent exchange of relief and affection passing between them. As the group settled around a table in a private corner, Dumbledore waved his wand, casting a Muffliato charm to ensure their conversation remained private. "I'm afraid the situation has become dire," Dumbledore began, his voice low and grave. "Grindelwald has called for an election of a new Supreme Mugwump of the International Confederation of Wizards. If he succeeds in placing one of his followers in that position, the consequences for both the magical and non-magical worlds would be catastrophic." Newt gently extracted the baby Quillen from his coat, placing it on the table where it wobbled on spindly legs. The creature's golden hide shimmered in the pub's warm light, its large, innocent eyes gazing at each of them in turn. "The Quillen," Newt explained, his voice filled with reverence, "is revered for its ability to see into the hearts of wizards and identify those pure of intention. Grindelwald seeks to corrupt this ancient magic, to use it to legitimize his claim to leadership." Jacob leaned forward, his brow furrowed in confusion. "I don't get it. How can one little critter make such a big difference?" Dumbledore smiled sadly. "In the wizarding world, Jacob, symbols and rituals hold immense power. The blessing of a Quillen upon A leader is seen as irrefutable proof of their worthiness to rule. If Grindelwald can manipulate this ceremony, he'll have the support of the magical community worldwide. The gravity of the situation settled over the group like a heavy cloak. Theseus, ever the strategist, was the first to break the silence. "So what's our plan? We can't simply hide the Cullen away and hope for the best." "No," Dumbledore agreed, a familiar twinkle returning to his eye. "We're going to beat Grindelwald at his own game. We'll attend the election ourselves, present the true Cullen, and expose his deception for all to see." Tina's eyes widened. "But sir, won't Grindelwald be expecting that? He has spies everywhere." Dumbledore nodded, a mischievous smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Indeed he does, Miss Goldstein. Which is why we're going to give him exactly what he expects, and then some." Over the next hour, Dumbledore outlined a plan so audacious, so full of misdirection and calculated risk, that it could only have come from the mind of the greatest wizard of the age. Each member of their small group would play a crucial role, their unique skills and knowledge woven together into a tapestry of deception, aimed at outwitting the dark wizard. As the others discussed the finer points of the plan, Newt found his gaze drawn to the baby Cullen. The creature had curled up on the table, its rhythmic breathing a soothing counterpoint to the tension in the room. He felt a familiar pang in his heart, the desire to protect, to nurture, to ensure that the wonders of the magical world were preserved for future generations. "Newt!" Tina's soft voice broke through his reverie. "Are you all right?" He met her concerned gaze and managed a small smile. "Just thinking about what's at stake," he replied. "It's not just about stopping Grindelwald anymore, is it? It's about what kind of world we want to live in, magical beings and humans alike." Tina's hand found his under the table, giving it a gentle squeeze. "We'll find a way," she said firmly. Together, as the group prepared to depart, each to their assigned tasks, Dumbledore pulled Newt aside. "I have a special mission for you, my friend," he said, his voice low. "One that may prove to be the most crucial of all." Newt listened intently as Dumbledore explained, his eyes widening at the audacity and risk involved. When the older wizard finished, Newt took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. "I understand," he said. "I won't let you down." Dumbledore's hand rested on Newt's shoulder, a gesture of trust and affection. "I know you won't, Newt. You have a rare gift, the ability to see the best in all creatures, magical or otherwise. It's that compassion, that understanding, that may well turn the tide in our favor." As they stepped out into the chilly Hogsmeade night, the group exchanged final words of encouragement before going their separate ways. Newt, with the baby Cullen safely ensconced in his magical suitcase, set off towards the Forbidden Forest. His part in Dumbledore's grand plan would take him to the very heart of Grindelwald's operation. A journey fraught with danger, but one that could change the course of wizarding history. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity, each member of their small band playing their part in Dumbledore's intricate plan. Theseus and Tina, utilizing their skills as Aurors, worked to infiltrate Grindelwald's inner circle, feeding him carefully crafted misinformation. Jacob, despite being a nomad, proved invaluable in navigating the complex social circles of the wizarding elite. his natural charm and observational skills, opening doors that would have remained closed to more obvious magical operatives. Newt's journey took him deep into the wilderness, seeking out magical creatures that could aid their cause. From the mist-shrouded valleys of Scotland to the sun-baked deserts of Egypt, he gathered a menagerie of fantastic beasts, each with unique abilities that would prove crucial in the coming confrontation. As the day of the election drew near, tension in the wizarding world reached a fever pitch. Grindelwald's supporters grew bolder, their rallies and demonstrations becoming increasingly violent. Those who opposed him found themselves targeted, subjected to intimidation and worse. The night before the election, Newt found himself in Berlin, the chosen site for the momentous event. The city hummed with magical energy, witches and wizards from all corners of the globe, converging on the German capital. In a secluded park, hidden from nomad eyes by powerful enchantments, Newt met with Dumbledore for a final review of their plan. "Are you ready?" Dumbledore asked, his blue eyes searching Newt's face. Newt nodded, patting his suitcase where the baby Cullen slept peacefully. "As ready as I'll ever be." "But Albus, what if? What if we're wrong? What if this doesn't work?" Dumbledore's expression softened, a hint of vulnerability showing through his usual confident demeanor. "Then we will have tried, Newt. Sometimes that's all we can do. But I have faith in our plan, in our friends, and most of all, in you." As dawn broke over Berlin, the wizarding world held its collective breath. The election of the Supreme Mugwump was traditionally a dignified, if somewhat dull, affair. But today, with Grindelwald's shadow looming large, the atmosphere crackled with tension and anticipation. The ceremony began in a vast, magically expanded hall. Delegates from every wizarding nation filled the tired seats, their colorful robes a stark contrast to the somber mood. At the center of it all stood a raised dais, upon which sat an ornate golden chair, the seat of the Supreme Mugwump. Grindelwald, resplendent in robes of midnight blue, strode to the front of the hall. His mismatched eyes swept over the assembled crowd, a predatory smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "My friends," he began, his voice magically amplified to reach every corner of the vast space, "today, we stand on the precipice of a new era, an era of freedom, of magical supremacy, of—" His words were cut short by a commotion at the back of the hall. Newt burst through the doors, his suitcase clutched tightly to his chest. "Wait," he cried, his voice cracking with emotion. "You can't do this. The Quillen. It's been tampered with."